in terms of what we're here to do, so our mission statement is pretty easy and straightforward. We really just want to try to make NHS England a really good place to work for the LGBTQIA plus community. We obviously, the things that we do, we have our members in mind all of the time, but also really aware that there are people in the organisation that don't want to be part of the network, but we're obviously trying to just improve visibility and inclusiveness across the whole organisation. We really want to be able to empower, engage and inspire one another. So, again, whilst people tend to look to staff networks as being like the font of everything and they're the ones that are going to provide everything and fix everything, that's really not how it works. We all do it on top of our day jobs. And so it's incredibly difficult to try to move things forward. So actually, we're only going to do this together. So we're really always encouraging our members to kind of get involved in any way that they can, whether it's big or small, makes no difference. And of course, we also stand united with our allies as well. So the national network, we are open to all people to be part of our membership. So we really want to be able to help the organisation to foster a culture of openness and acceptance, and have a better understanding of how to support LGBTQIA plus people in the workplace.
Beep, 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 beep. Welcome back to the Court of the Edijester for another part in the series on the NHS LGBTQIA network. We've already covered the damaging nature of EDI and DEI in the first of the series. We then moved on to discuss who exactly is running this show. And now we've also seen the length of the network's reach in yesterday's third parter. This is the fourth part in which we examine the LGBTQIA plus network mission statement and look at that in some detail. You've already heard from Melanie this morning at the beginning of this particular video. So it behoves us to take a look and see exactly what does she mean by what she said in that particular clip. The first thing was that, well, our mission statement is easy. Is it? Is it really? Okay, let's take a look at that. How easy is this mission statement? Our mission is to support the LGBTQIA plus lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer, intersex, and asexual community. Well, you've got a problem there for a start, Melanie. Okay, because the LGB has absolutely nothing to do with the rest of it, right? Nothing whatsoever. So how you can say this is easy, I don't know. Which means that you must know it's not easy. You know that it isn't easy. So if it's not LGBTQIA plus, what exactly is this network about? Let's see what's revealed as we move forward. It's about something much different than that. It is a community, as you call it, which it's not, and it's to increase the awareness and visibility of the LGBTQIA plus community who will empower, engage, and inspire one another. Really, what to do? To do what exactly? What will they inspire each other to do? This is a question that needs to be answered. There is no LGBTQIA plus community. It only exists in your head, Melanie. Only exists in your head. You stated in your speech that you made there that you want to make NHS England a really good place to work. Is that because it's not now? What exactly are the failings of NHS England that they need this activist group in order to help them achieve what they want to achieve? You want to make inclusiveness across the organisation a thing. Really? Is that inclusive of whom, Melanie? So is your mission statement really that simple? Or are you stating it simple so that people don't look too deeply? Because I imagine that's what's happening, is people don't look deep enough to understand exactly what you're saying. Now, if we remove the idea of the LGBTQIA plus from it altogether, it just becomes our mission is to support the people we have affinity with. Because this is an affinity group, and affinity groups are dangerous, especially this affinity group, because it is a wholly political organ. That's the nature of the beast. We stand together under the LGBTQIA plus umbrella, united with our allies. Okay, so that's everyone then, is it? Everyone. Is that what you're saying? So there's the LGBTQIA, which are the priestly class, and then there's everyone, which is the allies. Anybody outside of that is not in your church. Have I got this right, Mel? Have I? Because that's what it looks like to me. Very interesting comment when you said network is seen by other people as the font of everything, that are going to solve everything, which really I find very, very strange when you consider that you also made the statement that this is on top of your day job. Well, if it's on top of your day job, then it's not part of your job. What is it? And why does it exist? And why do the NHS allow you to use their logo and branding? If it's on top of your day job, what is the purpose of this? If it's not part of your job, what is the purpose of this network? These are questions that need to be answered, and they're not being answered. They're not. You then state at the bottom, to act as a representative for all LGBTQIA plus staff voices through continued engagement with its membership, and to assist the organisation in creating a culture of openness and acceptance, and provide greater understanding of all LGBTQIA plus matters. What the hell is a LGBTQIA plus matter? What is a LGBTQIA plus matter over and above everybody else? What is a matter? What is it? What, so there are people getting together who don't shag? Talking to each other about not shagging? Can you imagine that? Most boring party in history. Is that what it is, Mel? Really? And they do it in a way that values diversity and brings people together. Yeah, values diversity, but not diversity of thought. Is that right, Mel? Because I don't see you standing from the rooftops for your LGBTQIA plus network, calling out bloody Upton, a man pretending to be a woman and attacking women. I don't see you doing it. So what exactly is this about? You say it brings people together, whether they are from a LGBTQIA plus background or not. What's a LGBTQIA plus background? Your mission statement is easy. Your mission statement isn't easy, Mel. It's absolutely incomprehensible. Nobody could understand it. That's why you say it's simple, so that people don't look. We see you. And you need to know that. We see you, okay? You want to foster a culture of openness and acceptance. Are you telling me that the NHS doesn't have a culture of openness and acceptance? I know the people that are watching this will want to know why they don't have a culture of openness and acceptance. Perhaps you should ask Wes Streeting why there isn't a culture of openness and acceptance. Or if there is, which I know there is, you are pushing a narrative designed to undermine that. That's what this is. Let's continue on. Let's see what else Mel has to say that may well be of interest to us.
More specifically, our aims and objectives. So I guess ultimately what we're really here for in the first instance is we need to provide safe, trusted, supported spaces for our members, be able to help people to get peer-to-peer support, allow them to have networking opportunities, and as I say, really empower them to be agents of change themselves. You know, there's that saying, I don't know where it comes from, where it takes a village. And this is definitely one of those situations. We need everybody to kind of be involved. In addition to that, we try to support NHS England to meet its obligations that it has under the Equalities Act of 2010. So there is a part of the Equality Act, which is called the Public Sector Equality Duty. And so we have, the organisation has a responsibility to make sure that it's meeting those. And that's basically, there's three elements to it, but essentially it boils down to they have to make sure they do everything that they can to eliminate any kind of discrimination in its various forms from happening within an organisation. And the other one could be summarised in that they have a responsibility to try to foster good relations between people who have a protected characteristic, whatever one that may be, and those that don't. So you may have come across, because I work in the world of EDI, I come across it all of the time. As soon as you start to focus on more marginalised groups, people that haven't had as much access to things as the sort of majority of society, the majority then start to get a little bit itchy, they get a little bit fidgety, and they feel like their power's being challenged. And they then that's when you then start to have this, what we call in EDI, whataboutery. That whole, well, what about me? Oh, you're doing that program for that group of people, but what about me? Why don't I have a program that helps me progress in the organisation, or whatever it may be? So we're here to try to support the organisation to make sure that it's meeting those obligations. We really want to remove barriers, improve inclusivity. We want to do that by working alongside other networks. So the things that we do, we really try to look through the lens of intersectionality, which is why we decided to have an intersectionality lead. We also want to be able to make links with external networks. So sort of other NHS networks, but also outside of that, and any kind of charity organisations or anybody that's working in the field, just to make sure that we're maintaining our knowledge around what is best practice, because things are always shifting or changing within this area. And then in addition to that, we do anything else that we're asked to do. So we're often asked by the organisation to take part in policy reviews. They wanted us to support them with hybrid working. Unfortunately, we couldn't influence that decision. We were told, this is the decision, but how are you going to make us be able to deliver it in the right way? Other bits and pieces. So more recently, the stuff that HR and OD have been doing around the new values and behaviours, the line manager development programme. There's a whole raft of different things that we're asked to kind of take part in. And as much as possible, we try to make sure that we are representing our community in those spaces.
Forgive me if, as this gets more and more ridiculous, that I unfortunately will get more and more ridiculous with it. But some of this makes me laugh. I tell you why, it just does. It's so ridiculous. So we have now the LGBTQI plus network 2, slide 2. The net group will. This is the aims and objectives of the network as laid out there and discussed by Melanie. So the specific aim is ultimately, first instance, that's what she says at the very beginning, is to provide safe spaces, trusted peer-to-peer support, and empower agents of change. Safe from what, Mel? Safe from what? We will provide you with the safe space. What from? What do people in the NHS need to be safe from? Each other? I know there are times when they need to be safe from the patients, but you want to make a safe space from what? A strong scent? Warrior teachers will get that. A strong scent? It's absolutely insane. Peer-to-peer support. So you're telling me what? So asexual people are supporting other asexual people. Have you had a shag? No. I've not had a shag. Have you had a shag? No. Okay, that's great then. Thanks. I really enjoyed this peer-to-peer. And are these ridiculous meetings taking place in NHS time, on NHS premises, with NHS approval? Are they? That's what I want to know. Absolutely insane. Promote and celebrate the work the network do. Raise the profile internally and externally. Whatever for? Why do you want to raise it externally? Because you certainly aren't. You certainly aren't. There's much information about you, is there, for a start, let alone your network. Provide safe, supportive and trusted spaces for colleagues. And then you want to empower your members to be agents of change. What is it you want to change? What exactly is it the NHS has got so wrong that you want to change? There was a really interesting particular bit that was mentioned there by Mel, which was, she said, I don't remember where it comes from, but it takes a village. We need everybody. As if that metaphor is even vaguely suitable. I thought to myself when I heard it, but of course it's absolutely suitable. It's absolutely suitable. And it illustrates perfectly within that one phrase, the mindset of this particular network. The saying is, it takes a village to raise a child. These people do not think of those outside their network as adults. They think of them outside the network as children who don't have the right way of knowing, who aren't thinking in the correct way. Make no bones about it. This is a radical activist group. A radical activist group. She then brings in the Public Sector Equality Duty and the Equality Act, which are both, of course, things that the NHS is actually tied and bound to do. But what Mel thinks they should do and what it actually means they should do seem to be two completely different things. And Mel is quite happy to avoid the topic of equality of opportunity, which is one of the main tenets of the Public Sector Equality Duty. She does mention that people with protected characteristics are to be protected, but also those that don't have protected characteristics. And she does so in such a way that implies that the QIA in some way has a protected characteristic, which it doesn't. Forced teaming there. You can see it, forced teaming. We know this term well, the term forced teaming. We know this is what they're doing. Forced teaming. And then before you know it, we get the other side of it. So the Equality Act, 2010, protects us all. It's a shield, not a sword. But not to Mel. Because what Mel is then able to say is that that once you start to do something for a particular, well, we've got this particular program for this group, you then get all the rest of us, so to speak, or the majority, who do what she says because you hear about it so often in EDI circles. Whataboutery. Whataboutery. Well, they've got this. Why haven't we got it? Mel is advocating for the elevation of a group of people who, as far as I can see, require nothing over and above what everybody else gets. Not one thing. What about, it's absolutely insane. So that, in other words, there is an oppressor who, when you upset the oppressor by having your, asexual coffee morning, and they go, why can't we have a coffee morning? Then that's the sort of thing you can expect. It's whataboutery, because they're not special like the asexual people. This is a power and oppression narrative. Where have we heard that before? This is critical social justice in action in the NHS. And the weirdest thing of all is, she then starts rattling on about intersectionality. The old who's got what problem where? Intersectionality. Intersectionality for what? Well, I mean, what do people who are look at QIA need? What programs do they need? But particularly the asexual people. Is it possible that they need some kind of bum guard to save them from the gays? Or perhaps a fanny log to save them from the straights? What do these people need? None of what is being said here is in any way relevant to the job of being an NHS worker. None of it. Not one single line, not one single word. Worryingly, she then continues, we link with external networks outside the NHS to maintain best practice. Who are you linking with? Is it Stonewall? Is it Mermaids? Is it Transactual? Is it any of the other activist organisations that are causing so much trouble? And then most damning of all to me is the recognition, or certainly the admission from Mel, that they are involved in policy reviews. They're involved in policy reviews. This is an organisation that is put together, that is done above their job. It's nothing to do with the NHS, and yet they are involved in policy reviews. Not only are they involved in policy reviews, the NHS uses this group as an operational resource. This is a hard left, Marxist frameworked, intersectional activist group at work in the heart of the NHS, providing training to people in the NHS, spreading a mantra of power and oppression to people in the NHS. She also mentions, we do anything else they ask us to. I bet you do. I bet you do. Work with other network groups to ensure intersectionality across groups is addressed. Right, okay, grievance. It's all grievance. This stuff makes people mentally ill. This stuff makes people ill. Agree any additional or ad hoc requests they receive, either internally or externally, choosing what level of stakeholder engagement they can accommodate with. The word stakeholder is essentially the word comrade. This is a socialist, hard left, neoliberal, insane intersectionality cult operating in the NHS with a veneer of respectability that is given to them purely by dint of our ability to tolerate the intolerant. And it needs to end. How can it possibly get worse? Well, ladies and germs, for that you'll have to wait. Next Warrior Teacher program's in April, by the way. Come and join us. I'll see you later. Ta-da! Don't do anything I wouldn't do, will you? Bye.